What happens? 12:17 in the East Coast, just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. What happens if Jerome Powell goes into Jackson Hole tomorrow afternoon and just burns the fucking place to the ground? And am I buying TNFA right fucking now on the flush through 8.5? You bet your ass. 13.8% position. Average cost 0877. Last trade 0856. Excuse me one second. I love coffee. I don't know about you. I got chocolate peptides in there from sports research. I've mentioned it before. It's just amazing. A little bit of butter. Whip it up in the magic bullet. Let's start off with Jerome Powell. I'll give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then I'll finish off with TNFA. Let me start, however, and I appreciate your patience. All you new folks, we still have 6 to 10 that are not in the server. Once you join trysmallbiz.com, you get a 90-day free trial. We do ping the credit card to make sure you're not a fucking clown. So if you sign up to save 50% annually, you must have $900 on that card. If you do, we immediately send you a welcome email. Inside that is a Discord link. Some of you are not members of Discord. You need to do that first. So take your phone, just like this. Go to the App Store, download Discord. Once you have that, go back to the welcome email. Last trade 086 on TNFA. And click the link. You'll then get to our server, Small Biz, #1 stock trading Discord. 254 wins, 18 losses. 1,297%, let's call it 13x, in the last 2 years, which will be September the 1st. Then select, make a selection, /verification, add your email address. I will get pinged if it's in the middle of the night. Obviously, you're going to have to wait till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I will accept. Once you get inside, load a photo, watch the welcome video, say hello in the stock chat room. So if you can't see all the fucking action, if you didn't catch 25 or 30 trades this morning in 3 of the 7 core holdings that we're currently buying, you're not inside and approved in the Discord. You can open a ticket on the server or at trysmallbiz.com, contact us. For all of you that are new, and I just learned a lot, by the way, that 50% of our viewers are new. Welcome. I've been in the business 30 plus years. Half of that as a broker from 93 to 07. I've made all the fucking mistakes, went bankrupt twice, so you don't have to. And while the clowns, as I affectionately call them over on StockTwits, only focus on stocks that I've lost money in, like a Binny, which, by the way, we sold it at 3.5. Last trade 42. So it could have been a lot worse. And we've had 8 wins in 2 weeks. SOAR, SOAR, got in at 120 something, sold it at 220. Recently with Powell, got in it in the 70s. It went to $1.80. Rebought it again, maybe some this morning at 70 cents. Current limit. TNFA, as one example, we've traded it 3 times. We've doubled our money. This is house money. And as I said yesterday, 9 was the limit. We were loading up. After that last video, about an hour later, it shot through 10. Got you excited, right? Wrong. That's just the whale letting you know they can push it in either direction. In fact, when they flushed the stops, and I somehow skipped over Jerome Powell. We'll get to him in a second. When they flushed the stops an hour ago at 9, it was on 4 million shares. Peanuts. That's the big money. I can push it over a dime. I can push it down to the double bottom at 8.5. They just flushed the stops, triggered anybody who had an 8.5 stop, which was the former all-time low. And I've been buying. If you're in the Discord, you should know that. Forgive me. 0852. I've got limits all the way down to 081. That'll take all my liquidity. And after 8 wins for over 300% returns in, oh, by the way, 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, we can afford to wait out whatever happens tomorrow with Jerome Powell. So if you didn't hear me, TNFA, I'm buying. I've got limits. Last buy was at 0845. Maybe it'll happen before this video is over. I've got limits at 0835, 0826. I don't like to sit on round numbers. 0815 and then 081. And I'm out of cash. Right now, my limit is 0875. If I could get it at or near the all-time low of 08.5, if anyone's making money, it's fucking us. And again, you got a choice. Half of you that are new. You can listen to the clowns that are dedicated to throwing cold water on this motherfucking parade, or you can get inside the private Discord community. There's over 200 and growing. There'll be 1,000 by this time next year. Salt of the earth motherfuckers that can take a fucking punch. Not a pussy. Not someone that's got a Vegas mentality. I'm going to put all my money on black or red and I don't want to buy anymore. That's not how you play the game. You ease into a poker hand. You ease into a fucking trade. If you'd have listened to me 2 years ago, your 10 grand's worth almost 130 G's. And there are people, maybe some you might know, that have made over $1 million in the last 2 years. And I'm giving away 90 days for free. You could have 10, 15, 20 wins and probably at least one loss before you pay me a fucking dime in the 4th month. You get a Discord if you don't have a small biz. Premium if you do. Well, geez, he's looking at the camera a lot these days. I'll explain that later. At trysmallbiz.com. Pay me nothing. 90 days. In closing, there's no secret among those in the know that Jerome Powell and Donald Trump are like oil and fucking water. Right? He was at the walkthrough a few weeks ago at the Federal Reserve. And by the way, it was Trump that actually approved the money to redo the Federal Reserve 10 years ago. It's just taken him that fucking long to actually do it. And Trump, you may have seen it, he was raking him over the coals right on live TV. And one of the reporters gives him a gimme fucking question. Mr. President, if this was in the real estate business, what would you do with a guy like Powell that's not following directions? I'd fire him. And the look on Jerome's face, he looked down, but he's like, all right, you motherfucker. I'm not cutting rates. There's 2 extremes to this story. He steps up to the lectern in Wyoming Jackson Hole tomorrow and says, the hot PPI, this, that, and the other. You got strong retail sales today. Most of the corporate earnings, 70% or thereabouts in the S&P, are beating expectations and in many cases raising. I don't have to cut rates. In fact, why would I cut rates with the stock market at all-time highs? There's a good argument for not doing anything. The other extreme, which I don't expect, is he goes in there like a wimpy little fucking dove, cites the weakening labor market, the fact that some corporate earnings are not doing well, targets one blow up, the CEO finally got fired, even though he claims he resigned. And I'm going to get in line with what the bond market is saying, and that's 3% on the 10-year last trade, 4.25. So they've got 5 25 basis point cuts over the next 6 to 12 months. They need to start moving. What I actually we don't edit around here. And I just learned from the YouTube CEO, that's what's in now. I'm going to talk in the next few days for those of you that either create content or you're looking at me like, who the fuck is this clown with the fake jewelry and the watch that he bought down at Walmart? Less is more when it comes to editing. People want real, authentic, genuine folks. Whether you're out in the middle of the fucking wilderness in a snowstorm building a fucking log cabin, or you've got a toddler on your hip over a stove doing a YouTube short. Within 5 years, 5 fucking years, YouTube is going to replace cable TV. And by the way, what's the number one device in the United States that people now watch me on? A television. Can you believe that? When I heard it, I'm like, fuck. On a good day, I'm a fucking 7, if that. So you're going to notice, if you didn't catch it right away at the open, my content is going to change. But you know what's not going to change? Real, raw, uncut, unedited motherfucker with a 254 win and 18 loss track record that can make at least some of you filthy fucking rich over the next 3, 5, and 10 years and beyond. So until next time, always remember that I love you. And I hope to see you start your 90-day free trial right motherfucking now at trysmallbiz.com.